Hi, guys. Hope y'all are having a wonderful day out there. And thank you so much for liking and supporting the channel. This is part one of part two of The Last Heart Beating. Thank you so much, and I hope you enjoy.
So, in part two, practice, Natalia tells us that her uncles Bruce and Ross ran a regional wrestling promotion and they used the same name her grandfather used, as Vince McMahon never bought the name, and they landed a local TV spot where they showed off all of their wrestlers and the wrestling skills. It attracted a big time TV producer, Graham Owen, and he had the idea of coming up with a wrestling show and wanted them to do a pilot for him. And the uncles decided that TJ and a lot of the other people that they were training in the dungeon should be a part of this. TJ was growing closer and closer to Natty. And it was about and around that time where Natty had lost her Uncle Owen, and it was a huge loss for the whole entire family. It affected Natty so bad that she had a and no one knew except for TJ. He actually helped her out a lot. They confided a lot of vulnerabilities within each other. Although they didn't hang out all the time, like they would give each other like little nods and that stuff. When they were alone, they would talk a lot. And one day, TJ thought it was a great idea that Natty would be the in-ring announcer for the pilot of the show. And she wanted to take some bumps. She wanted to, she was like scared, but she wanted to be trained like a regular wrestler and how like they were in the dungeon. So she ended up being trained by TJ quite a lot. She never picked up on his little signs and cues that he really liked her. Not until he went away on a wrestling gig. It was like a 2-week wrestling gig in Saskatchewan. And then it was then and there when she went to go practice and stuff that she realized how much she missed him and how much confidence he gave her, even with wrestling. And so that was practice. And the next section we have is called Mat Rats. This part is all about the show that they put on and Natalia giving us detail by detail of how she was so nervous to go out there and how she was announcing everyone's matches one after the other until it was her turn to get in the ring and lay down one move to TJ, which was the Dragon Rana. It was a high-flying, high-risk move, but she managed to pull it off, and they were just really happy and excited with how the show went. The next section is Here I Come. So in Here We Come, we find out that the pilot that they were shooting fell dead. It fell flat. No one picked it up. Eric Bischoff was initially interested in it, which I found was interesting. But where WWE went in a couple years later and they bought out WCW, Eric didn't have a job, and obviously he became less and less interested in it, so it just went dead. Natty and TJ began to become closer. They move in with each other, and in between waitressing and practicing for wrestling, taking bumps and just doing whatever she could to further her career, she was very happy with what she had at the moment. And once she started to really work and train, the opportunities came pouring in, even though sometimes she felt like she didn't deserve some of them. A Tale of Two Tours is all about Natalia and her going to the UK to wrestle for the very first time and being on tour over there, which she liked even though she did miss home. She also went on a tour to Japan, and her father was very worried about her because he had been to Japan and he knows what the wrestlers are like over there. They take their craft very seriously, and they are really like brunt with their bumps and stuff, and it's very hard over there. And he was worried for his daughter, but she was bound and determined to go over there and make it for herself. She did go over, and I would say about midway, she was lonely and she thought that she couldn't do it. She should come back home. She called up TJ and he told her not to come home. He said that she had to be uncomfortable. She had to do this to get through to the other side, to get her dream. She wanted to be a wrestler, and she wants to be a wrestler in the WWE. And for her, it's important to learn all styles of wrestling, where at the time WWE was hiring women, mostly like models and supermodels, and she was not that type. She wanted to show that she could wrestle and be athletic. In the Harts and the McMahons part, we learned that Natalya has applied to WWE and has gotten a negative response back. They do not need her at this time. She was very disappointed and upset, but that didn't let her stop her from her dream and to keep continuing on. She tells us that she tag teamed a match in Ontario with her dad, and it was one of her most favorite memories and one of the most favorite times with her and her dad, and that she saw him as a wrestler as he saw her as a wrestler, like fellow peers, and she didn't really see him as dad at this point, which was good for her because he had a really tumultuous, kind of depressive life at home after wrestling. I guess he didn't really have a purpose, and his main purpose is wrestling, and Natalya could see that once they tagged together. This part pretty much was all about her family history with the McMahons, and her wondering if that family history would have affected her chances of getting in. Once they accept Bret Hart into the Hall of Fame, though, both her and TJ were wondering if this meant that fences were mended and that both her and TJ had a chance at making it in the WWE.